Never.
Oh, come on.
I mean, it could make it that if you have an A average, I'll make it more difficult to find to balance out the average.
See, no, that's just pure.
I know.
Or
Yes, it does. That's what we want to do. His units are all from.
I've only had one class that has actually, that's actually been the case.
Really?
Where one, you know, I'm 6'5", all the other instructors are like, no.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't tested, there'll be material that I haven't tested you guys with, so I have to ensure that you know those objectives.
When are you gonna announce that the final is not cumulative?
Oh, no, that'll
Oh,
never
come
happen.
on.
No.
And you're not even that.
It's like it's a real math class.
I know.
Yeah, she'll ask a question, nobody know the answer, and then she'll start training us fucking idiots. We just don't know how to do that. Teach us. Or just move on. We'll figure it out.
We're almost there.
Okay, guys, so today what we're going to do is we're going to finish up talking about the counting methods, and then we're going to start into algebra of combinations and permutations. And then on Wednesday, what we'll hopefully do is we'll finish up all the material for the third examination, going through binomial theorem. And then also, next Monday, what we'll do is anything that we don't finish, we'll just do then. And then whatever time we have left over, we'll review for our examination. So it's looking like our next examination is pretty definitively going to be, I got it, you're fine, sir. Thank you. And then, so our next exam is pretty firmly slated for the 9th. Okay, so.
You're pushing it 1 week ahead.
What?
You're pushing this 1 week ahead.
Not really. I mean, we're done with everything, and I'm giving you guys a date for review, so I don't know. I mean, I
No,
don't know
it's
what
even
to do.
supposed to be on 16th.
All right, so, I mean, I guess I could just make up some more stuff to put on the exam, if you want, and I could just go and talk to you about the schedule. Yeah, I know, there's always options, I mean, you know, or you just go with what I think might be best. All right, so any questions, guys, as to what's going on, or anything like that? Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think last time we got up to this question to where we had the jury of 8 men and 9 women, and I think we got up to letter D, and I'm pretty sure we did C, but we didn't do D, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and letter E doesn't exist because it just went down, so you guys can scratch out that E. E just says women. Anyway.
Let's scratch that out.
Well, I'm scratching out the letter before that. So, yeah, I'm not sexist or anything like that. All right, so this is a good review problem from last time. So how many 7-person juries can be chosen that consist of 3 men and 4 women? So remember last time that I talked about combinations and permutations and the difference between combination and permutation. So let's get into that mindset first of all. So is this problem going to be reflexive of a combination or permutation?
Combination.
Which one?
Combination.
Okay. And guys, why is it a combination?
Because it does not matter whichever person you pick.
Yeah, they're not, in other words, it's not, what do we call it, indistinguishable, right? One man is not indistinguishable from another man. It's not like we gave names to the people, okay? So this is still a combination problem because we're still picking from indistinguishable objects. So for the 7-person juries, okay, so we have 3 men and we have 4 women. So the way I think about these problems is that there's a number of ways to select the men and a number of ways to select the women. So I guess the first thing we might ask is how many men do we have total to pick from? Or
8.
Yeah, we have 8 men. And of those 8 men for this problem, how many do we want?
3.
We want 3. So that would be 8 men choose 3. 8 combination 3, right guys? All right, for the women, okay, how many women do we start with?
9.
9. And how many of those women do we want?
4.
4. Good. Okay. And remember, guys, at this point, you can use your calculator to evaluate those 2. So does that make sense to everybody, first of all, how we're selecting these? Okay, there's 7 people, 3 men, from which we're selecting out of 8 possible, 9 women, we want 4 of those. So that's how we set up these combinations. Okay? Now, the other question is, what do I do, and we're gonna compute these, but what do I do with these two combinations once I compute them?
Multiply.
We multiply them actually, okay? Because remember, the multiplication rule says if there's m number of ways to do event A and n number of ways to do event B, the total number of ways to do events A and B is multiplication, okay? Does that make sense, guys? Addition is if you want one or the other, okay? But this one we want them and, so we multiply. Okay. So we're just going to go into our calculator, we're going to multiply some stuff out, okay? So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think I showed you guys how to do that in your calculator, but just in case you forgot, let me do it again, okay? So what you guys would do is you type in the first number, 8, and then we're going to go to math, and then we're going over to prom, or PRB. We're going to go down to NCR, not NPR, hit enter, and then we're going to select 3, okay? So I got 56 for that one, okay? So does that make sense, guys? Remind you guys how to do that, okay? And in case you guys don't know how to work your calculator, make sure you come and ask me so I can help you guys out with that, okay? I want to make sure that you guys are okay being able to do this stuff. And then, was someone able to compute 9,4, and if they did, what did they get for 9 times?
126.
126, sir? Okay. So we have 56 times 126, and then that's just going to be our answer. So what's the product of those two?
7056.
7056. Okay. So that's the number of ways that if we have 8 men and 9 women, to select the 7 people juries of 3 men and 4 women. Okay. Now that's basically the number of different people that we could pick on the juries. Okay. But we don't know which ones are which.
If you have 9 events left 5, you get the same answer as if you have 9 left.
Correct, because the binomial distribution is a symmetric distribution.
Okay.
Okay, so 9,4 and 9,5 are the same values. In fact, we'll prove that later when we start talking about the binomial theorem. Okay, so there's several of them that do the same thing. Okay, so that's why it does work out like that.
So funny.
Yeah. All right. Other questions, guys? Okay. So another problem, because we don't have enough problems, right? How many three-person? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and grab that one. How many three-person juries consist of at least one man? Okay, so this is different, guys, because now it doesn't say exactly. Now it says at least. So, a way to think of at least might be to replace it with the phrase at minimum. Okay? So, let's think of at least one man, and there's a three-person jury. Okay? What are the possible options there for at least one man? You could have what?
1 man, 2 women.
So you could have one man in the jury, right? And this is for at least, okay? What's another option?
Or 2 men, 1.
We could have 2 women in the jury, right? Or, I'm sorry, 2 men. Sorry. Could we have 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Could we have 4?
No.
No. How come we can't have 4 men in this jury?
Because it's limits to 3 persons.
Because it says how many three-person juries. How can you put 4 men on a jury that only has 3 people in it, okay? So that's because it says at least, okay? So at least means, whenever you guys see at least, it means you start with the minimal number and you keep going up until you hit the maximum number, okay? Like for instance, if I said, to be in this class you have to have at least calculus 1, right? That means you could be in Calc 2 or Calc 3 or differential equations, but at minimum you have to have that prerequisite, okay? So does that make sense, guys, as to what at least means? Start with the lowest number and go up until you hit the maximum number, okay? Now we actually have to figure these out, okay? So if I want a jury with 1 man, that means it has to have one man, and also 2 women on it at the same time to get 3 people out of it. So how many men do we have to pick from? 8. How many of those men do we want? 1. So of the 9 women, we want 2 to get to a 3-person jury. Does that make sense to everybody, guys? Okay. So don't forget, you have to have men and you have to have women to make a 3-person jury. Okay? So there's a default there. Okay? If I want 2 men, well, it's set up, right, guys? Because instead of 8-1, do we just make it 8-2? And instead of 9-1, that would become instead of 9-2, that becomes 9-1, doesn't it, guys? And then finally, for 3 men, that would be 8-3, 9-0. Is that good, guys? Does that make sense to everybody, how we set that up, okay? And again, by default, you can't just have men, you have to have women as well.
On the last, why are you choosing 90? Because we already know there will be 3 men. That
Right, and there still has to account for women, so there has to be like a placeholder for the women no matter what, okay?
Okay.
That equals
So-
0, so,
No, it doesn't equal 0, Don, okay? We'll see that it doesn't equal 0, okay? So yeah, this guy, and some people think that 9-0, but there's only one way to choose 0 people, so it actually is 1, okay? So that's okay. All right, let's compute these and then we'll figure out what to do with it, okay? So you guys do 8-1 in your calculator, that's 8. 9-2 in your calculator, that should be 36, I believe.
Yes.
8-2 is going to be 28, I believe. 9-1 is 9. 8-3, we know that, that's 56. And 9-0 is 1. Okay, so now I do need some of you guys to verify those values and just don't take what I have for granted. Well, we know 8 and 36 is good. Hopefully 28 is good.
Yeah,
28 is good? Okay.
Hey, is that 56?
What's up?
Is that 56?
8-2? Oh yeah, this is a 56 in English, John, I'm sorry. I was wondering, it's like, what's 56? My yearly salary? Like in dollars, 56? Yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, pesos. Alright. So guys, we know we're gonna multiply these out, but what are we gonna do in between each of these? Like 1 man, 2 men, 3 men, what do we do there, guys?
add them.
We add them, right? Because it's either 1 man, or 2 men, or 3 women. That means at least, okay? Donnie, does that make sense, like the difference between when to add and multiply, okay? I thought you had the idea that you had to add at some point, but you forgot whether it was, if it was either disjunction or conjunction. So for disjunction, you have to add, okay? So, does that make sense, guys? We're gonna add these up, okay? And then we're gonna get some sort of value out of this to which I'm not gonna guess.
So whenever you have an or, you have to add, and is multiply, right?
Right, and means multiply, or means to add. So it's either 1 man, or 2 men, or 3 men, to get at least 1 man. Okay? Was someone able to figure out the sum and product of this?
It would be, at the very end, it's 596.
596, thanks Greg. Anyone disagree with that, or everyone go with Greg? Well, actually, Greg's response. You might not be okay with Greg, but at least his response. Okay. All good, guys? Any questions about this? Okay. So that's an at least problem. Okay. Now let's take a look at a most problem. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's another at least. I'm sorry. So how many 7-person juries can be selected that consist of at least 1 woman? All right. There's 2 ways to do this problem. Both of them are correct. One of them is going to be painful. One of them is going to be a little bit easier to do. So, if you guys have at least 1 woman, what's one way to be able to figure that out?
Just
Okay, so we start with 1 woman, right? And how high do we go up to?
up to 7.
7, right? So we have to have something for 1 woman, 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, 5 women, 6 women, and then surprise, 7 women. Let's do it this way because we want to. Yeah. That's painful, isn't it? I mean, it's not hard, it's just painful, right? Cutting the grass. We can do it whenever we want, we just don't like to. Let's just set up the first one for 1 woman and then I'll set the rest of them up, okay? If I want to select 1 woman out of this jury, okay? I think we have, what, 9 women to start with? And we want 1 of them, correct? Which by default means what?
6 men.
We want 6 men by default. Does that make sense to everybody, guys? There's 8 men. To finish it out, we have to have the other 6 in there. Okay, so that's all good with everybody? From here, guys, isn't the trick just keep descending, ascending, descending, ascending? So you just keep changing all of them by 1 on the bottom numbers. So for the next one, instead of 9-1, that would be 9-2, right? And then instead of 8-6, that would be 8-5. For the third one, 9-3, 8-4, 9-4, 8-3, oh, 9-5, 8-4, oh, no, I'm sorry, 8-2. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I was going the other way. That's not good. 9-6, 8-1, And then mercifully, 9-7, 8-0. All right.
Is there a way we can do this with N, or creating like a formula, something that kind of just expresses that in a condensed form?
I guess you could use a summation and try to do an index and try to write it out that way.
Okay.
Or you just do this. Because, I mean, truly, we are going to sum this up. So, I mean, you could write a summation to do it shorthand if you wanted to, but it might be nastier to do that. So you might, by the time you're done writing a summation, you'll probably be done doing 3 of those. All right, so I guess now all we have to do is just do some calculator action and go ahead and figure out some numbers, right, guys?
What's the easier way?
What's that?
You said there's an easier way. What's the easier
Oh, yeah,
way?
there's an easier way.
Okay.
But I'm gonna make you guys do the harder way first, because
Ah.
nobody suggested the easier way yet. So, all right, so let's just get some numbers down here. All right, 9-1 is 9. Oh, 8-6, 28, I believe. 9-2, 36. 8-5, 56, I believe. And you guys can check me on this, please. I'm not gonna do 9-3, because I don't know that one. And 8-4, I'm not gonna do that one. So some of these in the middle I'm not gonna do, but I'll do some of the ones towards the end. 8-2, I think we've done that one already. I think that's 420. Yeah, thanks. And then 9-6, that's gonna be 36 times 8. And then 9-7, that's going to be 36 times 1. Okay, so if you guys can help me out with, there's 5 of them up there. So if you can randomly pick one of those 5, stick in your calculator, and let me know what you get.
For 3W, it would be 84
Okay,
times 7.
times 70. Thanks, Frank. Okay, that's better than what I had. So, actually, I thought we had 8-3. Yeah, 8-3 was 56. So that's 56.
I think it's 126.
126 for 9-4. Okay. And then 9-5, and we got that one. 126 as well. Okay, thanks. All right. Now, I do need to make sure